Yes, it was after I gave birth to my daughter. After I gave birth, a couple of months later, I started having a whole lot of inconvenience, discomforts that comes. I could feel my whole body weak, pains all over. I could feel my bones. There were movements that I couldn't control within the bones, within the body. There were movements all over my body that were not something that could be controlled. And there were pinches across. It could happen any part of the body. There were intense movement in my hair. In fact, I couldn't identify which part. It was like deeper into the skin, in the skull, in the brain, whatever, I don't know. But there are movements within, and they were hit in my eardrums. There were sounds within my ear, and they were kind of electrocuting kind of shock within that could come intense. There were days I could feel like there's a leakages within my brain cells. I could feel cold. I could feel lightning, tender. It was like I was hallucinating, just to mention but few. This way, what I was going through. I wasn't taking it serious for the initial lesson, but when it became intense, we started moving from one hospital to the other. At least I could mention 10 hospitals that they are hospitals that you could have confidence that when you go, it results to what you are going through. And I was told to do a couple of labs, which we did. And I was told to go for MRI, which I did. When the MRI came, the results was all negative. I moved in to do ECG and the whole body count. With the ECG, I was told I had poor circulation. Then I was also told it was fatty liver, I had cholesterol. So the diagnoses were not really they were not much convincing, and each will come with its own treatment that they were not helping. There was no hope at all from any angle coming. And the last thing that baffles me was my doctor said I should go and see a man of God because they were tired with my complaints. Whatever they asked me, I go for. We were spending so much money, but there was nothing positive coming out from there. So something happened. When it became intense, and the doctor in charge said I should meet the man of God, that was when I started noticing that no, they are giving up on me already. But she also referred me to the senior doctor, a specialist for that matter. And they said they should increase my dosage. They prescribed some antidepressant products, this thing for me. And I was told to always swallow with water. And that was the same time my husband had the privilege. He met a friend I introduced him to. Yes, Global Product. But looking at my experience, the disappointment, the kind of money we spent, the kind of hospitals we visited, and all those things, I was disappointed in all kinds of medications. But he was able to convince me one way or the other. I gave in. I started using it without any hope. There was no hope from anywhere. The first week I started using, I used sunrise, sunset, colon guard. This was the 3 hours I started with. The first week, there was much intense in the movement. It could move like there's electrocuting, there's shocking. I could feel, I could hear, I could smell blood in my nostrils, but it wasn't leaking. I wasn't bleeding through. So it became much intense. I told my husband, he assured me that I should just be patient and then continue with it. So I took it for 3 weeks. I noticed a bit shallowing coming. The intense movement, especially in my brain, was dropping. And the weakness in my bones, my joints, it was also dropping a bit. And due to the stress I noticed I was putting too much weight. I was around 100 and something. So by 4 weeks, that is like 1 month time, I noticed my weight started dropping because now I could sleep. The intents were no more. Things started turning around. My skin was not part of the bonus, but after 1 month, the second month, I noticed my skin was becoming more brighter, but I ignore it because that is not my priorities. Within the second month, I noticed the movement were completely gone. But the weakness in my neck, there was weakness in my neck. At times, I have to use my hand to hold. My hair was heavy. So I have to store. The weakness of my neck was now my problem. It was also a gradual process. By the third month time, the weakness in my neck, the heaviness of my hair, the movement, the tangling, the pinching, everything dropped. I asked my husband, I hope I'm not dreaming. And then he was like, this is what you needed. And we think it is through God's directions. Because at where you were, everything was possible. In fact, the doctor told me everything is possible. I should be prayerful. So this is where I've come. Yes, Global Product were able to help me. I've reduced like 25 kg within the 3-4 months period. I'm no more hallucinating. There's no stress. There's no heat in my ears. There's no songs or noise within my everything has gone back to how I used to be. In fact, better than how I used to be, because I'm now more active and all that bonuses that comes in. So this is my story.